Well, I think in many ways today's vote shows you just how far the Tories have drifted away from much of the agenda that won them that big majority back in 2019, because of course you saw Boris Johnson lead the party to that victory, backed by a Brexiteer coalition of voters. And today Boris Johnson himself coming out to oppose what has been put forward by the government. Now, we know overwhelmingly that was backed. But we also saw this bust up today, starting with these comments from Steve Baker.
Say two things. First is that let's not misrepresent what the protocol bill would do. The protocol bill would have put in place a red and a green channel for goods going to Northern Ireland. But in using that bill, we would wreck our relations with the European Union and damage our standing internationally. Now, that was a price we were willing to pay to get just the kind of arrangements we now have in the Windsor framework. So really, both of them should be backing the Windsor framework today. And what I would say is they're both better than this. We've reached this point thanks to Liz Truss setting the process in train. And today's measures are better, of course, than the protocol that Boris Johnson put in place. A protocol which he spoke about, and those things he said turned out not to be accurate. So, you know, he's got a choice. He can be remembered for the great acts of statecraft that he achieved, or he can risk looking like a pound-shop Nigel Farage, and I hope he chooses to be remembered as a statesman.
Now, of course, Steve Baker is now in government, Minister of State for Northern Ireland. But don't forget that Steve Baker, back on the 5th of March 2022, was saying back then that Article 16 needed to be used immediately before that year's Stormont elections. Needless to say, Baker's comments today did not go down well with Nigel Farage, who hit back, saying there, you give Steve Baker a government job and he stops being a Brexiteer. What a fraud this man is.
Oh, this is really good, yes. So Steve Baker, the great Steve Baker, the man who suddenly isn't a real Brexiteer, he was saying back in March 2022, let's trigger Article 16 immediately, let's take back control of Northern Ireland, let's bring it within the UK single market. But now he's a minister, he wants to back the grubby Sunak deal. He sums up all that is worst in British politics. What a loser.
Well, subsequently, it's emerged, apparently one of the ERG WhatsApp groups, apparently Steve Baker, not in that anymore. And Jacob Rees-Mogg was also asked about this all today. Before I play this clip of Mogg today speaking to Sky, let me know in the comments below, are you team Farage on this? Are you team Baker? Let me know who you side with.
Steve Baker, former ERG chair, has now obviously Northern Ireland minister, has basically compared Boris Johnson to a pound shop Nigel Farage by opposing the Windsor framework. Are you a pound shop Nigel Farage?
Oh, I would take that as a great compliment. I would like to be the Woolworths of Nigel Farage's.